Snow had a way of swallowing sound in the Russia-Eastern Europe conflict zone. That night, it didn't just fall, it erased everything. Staff Sergeant Emma Carter sat inside the middle armored vehicle of Convoy Echo 9, hands steady on her rifle, eyes scanning the dim glow of digital maps inside her helmet HUD. Her unit wasn't supposed to be here. Official briefing called it a secure intelligence transfer escort mission. Unofficially, everyone knew what that meant. Something valuable was moving through a war zone where no one officially admitted fighting. The convoy carried a sealed hard module containing encrypted data tied to ongoing negotiations between NATO intelligence and regional military command structures. If it leaked, alliances could collapse overnight. Emma didn't care about politics. She cared about patterns. And tonight, everything felt wrong. The first sign was silence. No drone surveillance overhead. No satellite uplink updates. Even the wind sounded muted. She tapped her comms. Command, confirm air coverage. Static. Then a delayed response. Echo 9, you are green, proceed. Too fast, too clean, like a pre-recorded answer. Emma turned slightly toward the driver. Did you hear that delay? The driver shrugged. Comms are glitchy in this sector, Russian jamming zones. But Emma wasn't convinced. Because jamming didn't explain the GPS drift she just noticed. The convoy route had shifted by 800 meters, without authorization. She leaned forward. Stop the convoy. No response. She repeated louder. Stop the convoy now. Then, the lead vehicle suddenly slowed. Not from her order. From something else. A warning popped on her HUD. Navigation source REPLACED. Emma's heart tightened. We've been rerouted, she said firmly. Someone is inside the system. Still no reaction from command. That was the moment she realized something far worse than enemy fire. They were alone. Completely. The convoy entered a narrow industrial corridor surrounded by frozen warehouses and collapsed steel structures from an abandoned Soviet-era facility. Snow thickened. Visibility dropped to nearly zero. Emma switched to thermal vision. Nothing ahead. Nothing behind. Just white distortion. Then her HUD flickered again. This time a new coordinate flashed. Unknown origin. And underneath it, final route locked. She felt it in her stomach before it happened. This is a trap, she whispered. Before anyone could react, the lead convoy vehicle exploded. Not from above. From inside. A shaped charge detonation ripped through the armored front, sending burning debris across the frozen road. The second vehicle barely had time to react before another explosion followed, clean, timed, controlled. Military-grade precision. Emma's vehicle swerved violently. Glass cracked. The world tilted. Then, impact. The convoy slammed sideways into frozen metal barriers. Emma's helmet cracked against the frame. Her vision blurred, ears ringing with a high-pitched silence. For a moment, everything felt distant, like she was underwater. Then the screams began. Short, cut off, then silence again. Emma forced herself out through the shattered side hatch, dropping into knee-deep snow mixed with burning fuel residue. The cold hit harder than the explosion. Her gloves trembled as she grabbed her rifle. Around her, chaos frozen in time. Burning armored vehicles. Motionless bodies. No survivors visible. Except a faint crackle in her earpiece. She activated it. Carter. A voice. Not her commander. Not anyone in the convoy. It was calm. Controlled. Close. You're still alive. That wasn't supposed to happen. Emma froze instantly. Her eyes scanned the horizon. Nothing but smoke and snow. Identify yourself, she demanded. A pause. Then, you were not in the primary kill zone. Her grip tightened. Who the hell are you? A soft exhale came through the line. Almost amused. Look behind you. Emma turned. Nothing. Just burning wreckage. Then, a faint mechanical hum above her. She looked up. A drone hovered in the storm. Black. Military grade. No markings. Its camera lens pointed directly at her. Tracking. Recording. Not attacking. Watching. And that's when she understood something deeply wrong. This wasn't a battlefield mistake. This was documentation. Someone wanted proof she survived. Not to save her, but to confirm she existed. Her radio crackled again. Carter, stay where you are. The voice had changed slightly. More distorted. Layered. Like multiple feeds merging. Extraction team is en route. Emma backed into the wreckage, scanning for cover. I didn't request extraction, she snapped. Silence. Then the voice responded. No, we did. A sudden burst of static cut the line. Then, all convoy radio channels opened simultaneously. Every dead soldier's comm frequency activated at once. A wall of overlapping transmissions flooded her headset. Then it stopped. One final message came through. Clear. Direct. Personal. Asset confirmed. Emma's breath slowed. Because she realized she wasn't just surviving an ambush. She was the objective. The drone above her tilted slightly, then turned away, as if its job was done. And in the distance, through the snowstorm, she saw something moving. Not vehicles. Not soldiers. Footsteps. Multiple. Closing in slowly. Methodically. Surrounding her position from the dark edge of the industrial ruins. Emma raised her rifle. Finger tight on the trigger. But before she could aim, her HUD blinked one last time. A new message appeared. From internal military channel access. Authorized. Unreadable sender ID. Just 2 words. Do not resist. Emma stared at it. Then lowered her rifle slightly, not in surrender, but in calculation. Because whoever was coming for her wasn't improvising. They had planned every second of this. Even her survival. And that meant one terrifying thing. This was only the beginning. The voice behind Emma Carter didn't rush. It didn't panic. It didn't even sound armed. That's what made it worse. In a war zone, calm voices were never innocent. Emma tightened her grip on the rifle and slowly turned. A figure stood just beyond the wreckage line, partially hidden by the falling snow, wearing a dark tactical coat with no visible insignia. Helmet off, face exposed. A man. Mid-30s, clean-shaven, eyes trained like he had seen too many interrogation rooms and not enough sleep. He raised his hand slightly. Staff Sergeant Carter, lower the weapon. Emma didn't move. Identify yourself, she demanded again, voice sharper now. The man sighed like this was an inconvenience, not a battlefield standoff. Special Agent Daniel Reyes, U.S. Army Criminal Investigation Division. That hit differently. CID. Not enemy forces. Not NAID. Internal enforcement. Emma didn't lower her rifle. CID doesn't operate in active convoy zones without escort, she said. Reyes nodded slowly. Normally, no. A pause. Snow swirled between them like static interference in the real world. Then he said it. You're currently classified as a primary suspect in the Echo 9 convoy massacre. Emma blinked once, then twice. For a split second, she almost laughed. Almost. That convoy was attacked 5 minutes after GPS reroute, she snapped. I was inside it. I'm the only survivor. Reyes didn't react emotionally. He just reached into his vest and pulled out a compact data slate. He tapped once. A holographic feed projected between them. Emma's breath stopped. Her own name. Her own ID chip signature. Timestamped logs. And then, a system override command. Origin, Emma Carter, authorized access key. She shook her head instantly. That's not possible. Reyes didn't argue. That was worse. We pulled encrypted convoy logs from satellite relay backups, he said. Your access credential was used to disable convoy defense protocols 12 minutes before the explosion. Emma took a step forward. Someone cloned my key. Reyes studied her face carefully. Or someone used your access directly. Silence dropped between them. The wind suddenly felt louder. Emma lowered her rifle slightly, not out of trust but calculation. You think I killed my own unit? Reyes didn't answer immediately. Then, I think you were present at the exact moment someone inside your network made sure nobody survived except you. That sentence landed heavier than bullets. Emma's mind replayed everything. The reroute. The silence. The drone. The clean precision of the attack. This wasn't random. It was controlled. Designed. She looked at Reyes again. If I was the target, I'd be dead too. Reyes nodded slightly. Unless you weren't the target. A beat. Then, unless you were the fallback. That didn't make sense at first. Then it did. Emma's expression changed. Slowly. A scapegoat. Reyes didn't confirm. He didn't need to. Suddenly, a distant radio burst cracked through the snow. Then another. Then multiple frequencies locking in. Emma's HUD flickered red. Unauthorized military presence, DETCTED. Reyes turned slightly. They found you faster than expected. Emma raised her rifle again. Who is they? Before he could answer, floodlights cut through the storm. From multiple angles, silhouettes emerged through the snow haze. Military formation. U.S. tactical insignia. Emma's stomach dropped. Not enemies. Not foreign forces. Her own military unit. And they were advancing in perfect formation. Too perfect. Like a rehearsed containment drill. A voice echoed through a loudspeaker. Staff Sergeant Carter, you are ordered to surrender immediately under Article 94, suspected treason against active operations. Emma stared at them. Her own people. Pointing rifles at her. Reyes stepped slightly closer. Quietly. I tried to reach you before they did. Emma didn't look at him. You're here to arrest me. Reyes hesitated. That hesitation said everything. I'm here to extract you for questioning. Emma let out a sharp breath. That's not an answer. The soldiers closed in another 10 meters. Snow cracked under boots. Formation tightening. Encirclement pattern. Emma noticed it instantly. They're not here to negotiate, she muttered. Reyes followed her gaze. No. Then he added. They're here to contain. Emma's voice dropped. Contain what? Reyes looked at her directly now. The only surviving witness. That hit like a second explosion. A witness, not a suspect, not a soldier, a liability. The loudspeaker cracked again. Final warning, surrender or we will engage. Emma raised her rifle, but didn't aim yet. She was reading, calculating. Something was off. The formation wasn't random. They weren't searching. They already knew her exact position. Like she was already marked. She whispered, "They're not reacting to me." Reyes frowned. "What?" Emma pointed slightly. "Look at their spacing." He followed her gaze. Then realized. They weren't aiming at her. They were surrounding a perimeter. A kill zone. Designed not to capture, but to ensure no escape. Rey's voice dropped. "This isn't standard CID support." Emma nodded slowly. "No." Then she said it clearly. "This is execution protocol." A sudden burst of static erupted in her comms. Then a private channel opened again. The same distorted voice from earlier. But clearer now. "Closer. Carter." Emma froze. Reyes noticed her reaction instantly. "Who is that?" The voice continued. "You are making this harder than necessary." Emma backed one step. Reyes immediately raised his weapon slightly. "Emma, who is speaking to you?" She didn't answer, because now she understood something terrifying. That voice wasn't Russian. It wasn't enemy intelligence. It wasn't even field command. It was internal, high-level, authorized, and it already knew her name before she entered this war zone. The loudspeaker outside crackled one final time. Last chance. Snow thickened. Wind dropped suddenly. Everything went quiet. Ray slowly looked at Emma. "If you run, they'll shoot." Emma looked at him. "If I stay, I die anyway." A long pause. Then, Emma made her decision. She dropped the rifle. Not surrender. Just distraction. Reyes reacted instantly. Emma don't. But she was already moving. Straight into the snowstorm. Straight into the blind gap between formations. Bullets fired immediately behind her. The world exploded into sound. Snow turned into chaos. Reyes shouted something, but it was swallowed by gunfire. Emma ran. Vast. No plan. Just survival. And as she disappeared into the whiteout, one thought burned in her mind. She wasn't being hunted for what she did. She was being hunted for what she knew. The snowstorm swallowed Emma Carter whole. Gunfire faded behind her within seconds, not because it stopped, but because distance and whiteout erased everything like the world had decided to reset itself. She ran blindly at first, boots sinking into frozen ground, breath tearing through her lungs, heart hammering so violently she could feel it in her fingertips. But Emma wasn't just surviving. She was reading. Every second she stayed alive told her something new. The formation wasn't pursuing randomly. No spread-out search teams. No flanking. No drones adjusting angles. They weren't hunting her through terrain. They already knew her path. Which meant she wasn't escaping. She was being guided. Emma stopped suddenly behind the remains of a collapsed steel fuel tank, forcing herself to breathe slower. Her HUD flickered again. The same message remained. "Welcome back, Asset Carter." Her jaw tightened. "Asset," she whispered, "not soldier." That distinction mattered. Soldiers get hunted. Assets get used. She pulled out the damaged field tablet she had recovered earlier from the convoy wreckage. The screen was cracked, but still alive. Cold fingers worked fast, bypassing encryption layers. Military-grade firewalls weren't meant to be hacked in the field, but Emma wasn't average infantry. She was intelligence escort trained for exactly this kind of breach. Minutes passed. Then, access granted. A folder opened. No label. Just a timestamp. 3 weeks before deployment. Emma frowned. She tapped it. Inside were convoy routing documents, but not just Echo 9. Dozens of convoys, all along the same corridor, all carrying different payloads, but every single one intersected at one invisible point in the system. A black node labeled Orchid Node. Emma had never heard of it, but her instincts immediately reacted. Hidden command structure. Off-record routing hub. Then she opened the second file. Her breath slowed. Personnel list. Not soldiers. Not contractors. Names. And one thing linked them all. Every name had been flagged under erasure priority, classified disposal route. Emma zoomed in and saw something worse. Her own name wasn't just listed. It was highlighted. Top priority. Active status. Assigned category. Primary false flag survivor. She stepped back instinctively. False flag survivor. That wasn't a label. That was a role. She wasn't just framed. She was pre-assigned. A moving piece in a larger operation. Her radio crackled again. This time not static. Not broken. Clear. Carter. Emma froze. Agent Daniel Reyes. But his tone had changed. Less official. More urgent. If you can hear this, you need to move north, now. Emma narrowed her eyes. You're still tracking me. Reyes hesitated. I'm trying to keep you alive. That didn't answer anything. Emma replied sharply. Then explain why your unit is hunting me. Silence. A long one. Then, because I didn't authorize them. That changed the air instantly. Emma straightened slightly. Say that again. Rey's voice dropped lower. The unit deployed on your position isn't CID field support. It's not standard military response either. A pause. Then the part that mattered. It's private command override. Emma felt a cold realization spread through her chest. Private command didn't exist on paper, but in reality it did. Contracted military intelligence cells. Black budget operational groups. People who answered to contracts, not flags. She looked at the burning wreckage direction behind her. So who gave them my name? Reyes replied instantly. That's what I'm trying to find out. Emma didn't move. Because now everything connected. The convoy. The reroute. The drone. The clean execution. The containment formation. This wasn't battlefield chaos. It was asset removal. She whispered, I was never deployed to protect that convoy. Reyes answered carefully. No. A beat. Then, you were deployed because someone needed a survivor. Emma closed her eyes for half a second. That was the truth. She was never part of the convoy mission. She was part of the after-mission narrative. A controlled witness. A controllable outcome. Suddenly, a deep rumble echoed in the distance. Not gunfire. Not footsteps. Engines. Multiple. Approaching fast. Emma grabbed her rifle again instinctively. Reyes shouted through comms. They've relocated units faster than I expected. You need to move now. Emma looked around. No cover. Open snowfield ahead. Industrial ruins behind her. A dead zone. Then she saw something that made her stomach drop. Drones. Not one. Dozens. Rising above the horizon line like a coordinated swarm. She whispered. They brought aerial support. Reyes responded. No, that's not military support. Emma frowned. Then what is it? A pause. Then, clean up. The word landed like a verdict. The drone spread out slowly, not attacking immediately. Scanning. Marking. Mapping. Emma realized the terrifying pattern. They weren't searching for her. They were confirming her exact position before elimination. She turned sharply toward the industrial ruins. There, barely visible, was a maintenance tunnel entrance partially collapsed under ice. Her only option. Ray spoke urgently. Carter, listen to me. If you go into that tunnel, I can't guarantee extraction. Emma replied instantly. I don't need extraction, I need answers. She sprinted. Bullets didn't follow yet, because drones were still calibrating. She reached the tunnel entrance and slid inside just as the first drone locked coordinates behind her. Darkness swallowed her instantly. Cold stone. Old Soviet-era infrastructure. Her boots echoed softly as she moved deeper. Her comms flickered. Ray's still connected. Emma, you're inside the old logistics tunnels. She didn't respond immediately, because she saw something ahead. A light. Faint. Artificial. She moved closer and found a sealed military access door. Not abandoned. Maintained. Recently opened. Ray's continued. That tunnel network was decommissioned years ago. Emma touched the door panel. It was warm. Recently used. She whispered, someone is down here. Ray's immediately. Get out now. But Emma didn't move, because the door slowly unlocked from the inside, with a sharp metallic click. Then it opened halfway, and a voice from the darkness said calmly, You're earlier than expected, Carter. Emma raised her weapon instantly, but froze, because she recognized that voice. Not from enemy files, not from field operations, from command briefings. High level, restricted access level. The voice continued. You weren't supposed to survive long enough to reach this point. A figure stepped forward into dim light, and Emma Carter finally saw the truth staring back at her. The Warzone wasn't where she was being hunted. It was where she was being managed. The man standing in the tunnel light shouldn't have existed. Emma Carter's finger tightened instinctively on the trigger, but her brain refused to fully commit to the action. Something about him broke the logic of everything she had experienced so far. Clean posture, controlled breathing, eyes that didn't belong to a ghost, but to someone who had been watching from somewhere above this entire operation. Colonel Nathaniel Harris. Official record. Killed in action 3 years ago during a classified operation in the Middle East. Yet here he was, alive, and looking at her like she was the one who had stepped out of the grave. Emma didn't lower her weapon. You're supposed to be dead. Harris tilted his head slightly, almost amused. So are you, technically, according to half the files floating around right now. Behind Emma, Agent Ray's voice came through the comm again, tense and distorted. Emma, get out of there, that's not. The signal cut. Jammed. Harris stepped closer into the dim tunnel light. You're standing in a corridor that doesn't officially exist, he said calmly. Everything you've seen above ground was just noise. This is where the real operation has always been managed. Emma's mind refused to accept it at first. The convoy, the attack, the unit hunting me. Harris nodded once. All coordinated. A pause. Then he added, not by enemies. That word hit harder than any bullet. Emma took a small step back. Why me? Harris studied her for a moment, like she was a problem he had already solved. Because you were the cleanest variable. Emma frowned. That's not an answer. He exhaled slowly. Yes, it is. You just don't like what it means. He turned slightly and tapped a control panel beside the tunnel wall. The door behind him locked shut with a heavy mechanical thud. Then the lights in the tunnel shifted, dim emergency strips flickering to life deeper inside. Emma's HUD tried to reconnect. Failed. Harris noticed. Signal suppression is standard here. No outside tracking, no satellite oversight, no witnesses unless we allow them. Emma's voice sharpened. Allow them for what? Harris finally said it. For controlled narrative resolution. A silence followed that felt heavier than gunfire. Emma slowly lowered her rifle by a few centimeters. Not trust, just recalibration. You orchestrated a convoy massacre to frame me. Harris didn't deny it. That was the confirmation. We didn't frame you, he corrected. We positioned you. Emma's jaw tightened. Position me for what? Harris stepped closer. There were leaks in the defense procurement pipeline, weapons diverted through private channels, high-level transfers off the books. If that information ever surfaced publicly, it wouldn't just collapse operations, it would collapse alliances. He paused. We needed a survivor who could be discredited if necessary, or validated if controlled. Emma stared at him. So I'm disposable. Harris shook his head slightly. No, you're useful. Disposable people don't survive convoy-level precision strikes. That word again. Precision. Emma remembered the explosions, the silence before them, the drone that didn't kill her. You made sure I survived, she said slowly. Harris nodded. You were never meant to die in the convoy. You were meant to survive it and be blamed for it. Emma's breath slowed. So I expose the truth, or I become it. Harris looked at her carefully. That depends on your decision now. A distant mechanical hum echoed through the tunnel. Emma glanced upward instinctively. Harris noticed. They've activated cleanup outside. The drones won't wait much longer. Emma raised her rifle again. Raise knows. Harris smiled faintly. Raise knows enough to be dangerous, not enough to stop it. Emma tightened her grip. Then why am I still alive right now? Harris turned slightly toward the deeper tunnel. Because the final phase requires confirmation. Emma frowned. Confirmation of what? He looked back at her. That you can choose correctly. That sentence didn't make sense until it did. Emma realized something cold. This wasn't a capture operation anymore. It was a test. A final branching outcome. Harris continued. We already uploaded partial convoy data through back channels. The story is ready, but it only becomes stable if you behave in a predictable way. Emma narrowed her eyes. And if I do? Harris didn't answer immediately. Then we reset the narrative. A soft mechanical sound echoed behind Emma. The tunnel door she entered through sealed completely. No exit. Emma was now inside the system's core corridor. Harris gestured forward. Walk with me. Emma didn't move. Or what? Harris sighed. Or you stay here and become collateral in a cleanup you won't survive. A distant explosion echoed above ground. Then another. The drones had started active elimination. Time was running out. Emma made a decision, but not the one they expected. She moved forward. Not surrender. Not compliance. Calculation. Harris walked beside her, matching pace. "You're wondering where Reyes fits into this," he said. Emma didn't look at him. "He's the only one who didn't try to kill me." Harris gave a faint, almost disappointed smile. "No, he's just the one who hasn't been given your final instruction set yet." That landed like ice. Emma stopped briefly. "Instruction set." Harris nodded. "Everyone involved has a role. Hunters, cleaners, analysts, observers, even survivors." Emma turned slightly. "And what role am I?" Harris looked at her directly. "You are the proof of outcome variable." A long silence followed. Then Emma whispered, "You built the war around me." Harris didn't deny it. That was the worst confirmation of all. They reached a junction in the tunnel system, 3 paths. Left, right, forward. Harris stopped. "This is where your choice determines everything." Emma looked at each path. Then at him. "If I walk away from you right now." Harris replied calmly, "Then you expose us. And if I follow you, then you understand why none of this can ever be public." Emma's grip tightened. Outside, distant thunder rolled, drones sweeping closer. Inside, silence waited. She made her choice. But instead of taking any of the paths, Emma turned and pressed her rifle directly against Harris' chest. "No more systems, no more narratives. You tell me everything now." For the first time, Harris didn't look calm. Just slightly disappointed. That wasn't one of the options. Emma's voice dropped. "Then rewrite them." A pause. Then Harris slowly raised his hands and said the words that changed everything. "Fine, but once you know the full structure, there is no going back to being just a soldier." Emma didn't blink. "I never was." Outside the tunnel, the drones began locking onto underground heat signatures. Inside, Harris activated a hidden terminal. The walls lit up with classified data streams. And Emma Carter finally saw the full architecture of the war she thought she was fighting in. Not a battlefield. A system. Designed. Optimized. And still running.